Hello friends, welcome back. And in today's lecture, we are going to see that what is the difference when you define the methods inside and outside of the class. Okay, so you must have seen that whenever you write a class, then first of all, we need to write a constructor, not necessarily, but if you need to define it properly, then you should write your constructor. So we write like this. Inside the class itself, we can define the constructor, right? But this is not necessary, right? You can leave this constructor's declaration here. You can write some function test fun one here. You can write like test, void test fun two like this. So you can have the uh, you know uh, copy of the functions, which is basically the signature of the functions that you can signature of the functions and the prototype or the prototype of the functions and the class constructor like this, right? And you can define them outside the class as well. And when you define them outside the class, then what you need to do, you need to simply write like first of all, you need to write like if you have to define the constructor, then you will write like this test class, and you will write like test class this way. Okay, so this is the way you have to declare it, right? So here you can initialize your object, right? You know that the constructors are used to initialize the object, so here you can initialize it. And after that, if you have the functions, then first of all, you need to write the return type, right? Void, and then class name, test class, and test class. Just a minute. God, what is happening? Test class, and then test fun one, right? So this is how you can declare it again. Sorry, define it outside the class. And similarly, void test class test fun two. Okay, so this is how you can define your functions outside the class as well. You can write some function, you can write some, statement which can show you that yes, you can easily access them as well. So test fun, I have written the statement for this test fun one only, and here I'm going to write, create an object of the class test class, and then after that I'm just going to write like test t dot test fun one, and now let me run it, and you will be able to see the test fun one, right? So you can define your methods, or you can say the functions outside your class as well. Okay, so let me see how it runs. So here you see test fun one, right? So this is how the output is generated for test fun one. Okay. So what is the difference between the two when you define the methods and the constructors inside the class versus outside the class? What is the difference? The simple difference is that whenever you define any constructor or any method, or you can say any function inside a class, then these definitions will make the functions oblique, slash constructor CTOR as inline, right? We have discussed about the inline, right? So what inline is a keyword basically. Inline is a request to the compiler, right? Inline means wherever the function has been written, the code will be inserted at that place. Okay, what does this mean? We have already discussed, like if you call this function, then this function will not be called exactly inside this function. Whatever has been written, that will be written as it is at the location where the function is getting called. Why this is done? Because in when you make it in line, then what happens that you are requesting the compiler to make it faster. So when you are not calling a function, then it will become faster, right? What happens? Let me give you a simple example. Suppose you have called this test fun and you have written the definition of this function inside the class. Then what will happen? Rather than calling this function involves calling the function and putting the request on the stack. There is a portion of the program which is called the stack. The request goes onto the stack. The function call is placed on the stack. That's an overhead. So if you call that on the if your call goes to stack and then comes back from the stack, then it's an overhead. So to avoid this overhead, if you want faster execution of your program, then in that case you make these definitions inside your class, right? But again, this inline is a request which can be denied. So if your compiler, there is an optimization setting for the compiler. So as per those optimization settings, if your compiler finds that yes, this can be done, then only it will do. Otherwise, it will deny your request. If it thinks based on the optimization settings, if your compiler finds that yes, even if it will do this, then it will violate the optimization settings. Then in that case, it will not do. Even if you have declared it inside, or if even if you have written like inline, right? You can write like inline as well, inside the inside the or outside the class, right? If you have written inside the class, even if you have not written inside the class, then it means then it is inline, right? So it is inherent, right? And also for this is inline. Even if you don't write, this is inline, right? If you are doing this, then this is by default inline. So inline is a request to the compiler, right? It's not exactly it's not exactly an order. It's a request, and request can be denied based on the optimization settings. If it can be done based on the optimization settings, then it will be done. Otherwise, it will be denied, right? So basically, to make the things faster, these things are done. So what happens that when you call the test.fun1, then if your function is if this function call is this is basically inside this test one. This basically whatever has been written inside this one, that content will be placed here only, right? That content will come here only. See out test fun. This will not be exactly a call. This call will be converted internally, calling this test fun and printing here like see out and this one. Basically, this entire line will be placed here like this, right? Rather than calling this also has the same impact, right? It will also print test fun one, and t dot test fun1, it is also printing this one. So compiler optimization setting will find it very easy to make it inline, but in this scenario it is not making it inline, because this has been defined outside the class, right? But if it could have been defined it inside the class like test1, then in that case this could have been done by the compiler, right? So if you have defined it inside the class only, then in that case these kind of things can be happening. Okay, otherwise it will not happen. So this was the difference between the call from the inside and outside the class. I hope you might have understood this. This is very important concept. So please like, share this video, and let your friends know that there is a channel which can cater to their needs for the basic programming skills in C++. And if you are a student, BTech, you are doing BTech, you are doing MCA, then in that case, this course is really helpful for you. Thank you and have a nice day, and bye-bye.